year in advance.
Once in a lifetime.
1 second. That's all it takes. 1 second to turn a legendary career into a nightmare. Today we count down 10 rivalries that didn't just shape careers, they destroyed them. These weren't just fights, they were wars. And for some, the price of war was everything. And trust me, by the time we get to number 1, you're gonna be speechless. So before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and join the squad, because we're dropping fire WWE content every single week. Ready? Let's go. At number 10, Bret Hart versus Goldberg, the kick that ended a legend. You ever hear someone say, it's just wrestling, it's not real? Well, tell that to Bret Hart, because in 1999, one kick ended the career of one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. It was WCW Starrcade, Bret Hart versus Goldberg, a match that should have been another classic in Bret's legendary career, but instead it turned into a disaster. Goldberg was a beast, no doubt, but he was also reckless. One miscalculated superkick worse. His vision blurred, his balance was gone, and in 2000, doctors told him the words no wrestler ever wants to hear. You're done. Goldberg's kick didn't just end a match, it ended a legacy. And speaking of legacies cut short, wait till you hear the next one. At number 9, Edge versus The Undertaker, the price of Hell in a Cell. You know what happens when you spend years throwing yourself off ladders, taking steel chairs to the skull, and going to war inside hell in a cell? Your body pays the price. For Edge, his battles with The Undertaker were legendary, but they were also the reason he nearly never walked again. In 2011, after years of insane TCL matches and high-impact moves, Edge was told he had severe spinal trauma. One more bump, and he could be paralyzed. Edge had no choice but to retire, leaving the WWE Universe heartbroken. He thought it was over, until 2020 when he made an impossible return. But unlike Edge, the next superstar on our list never was able to make a comeback. If you love deep dives into wrestling's most shocking moments, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an upload. At number 8, Sting versus Seth Rollins. Some legends retire on their own terms, and some get forced out. Sting was a legend, a warrior in WCW, and when he finally stepped into WWE, fans were hyped. But in 2015 against Seth Rollins, it all came crashing down. One move, one impact, and Sting felt his arms go numb. He tried to continue, but his body wouldn't respond. Turns out he suffered severe neck trauma. Doctors told him he could never wrestle again. And for years, that was the end, until AEW gave him another shot years later. But not every injury has a happy ending. Number 7, Stone Cold versus Owen Hart. This moment right here, this is the exact moment, the second that changed wrestling forever. SummerSlam 1997. Stone Cold Steve Austin was on top of the world, but when Owen Hart went for a piledriver, he botched it. Instead of landing on his shoulders, Austin was spiked directly on his head. For a few terrifying minutes, Austin was paralyzed. Somehow he finished the match, but his neck was never the same. 6 years later, Austin had to call it quits. And trust me, that wasn't even the worst injury on the list. We're getting to number 1, and it's truly horrifying. If you are enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. More crazy WWE stories are coming your way. We're only halfway through, and trust me, the next name on this list will blow your mind. But before we get there, take a second to subscribe so you don't miss the wildest wrestling stories out there. At number 6, Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. Multiple concussions, forced retirement in 2016. Daniel Bryan was the ultimate underdog. He fought harder than anyone to reach the top, winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 30 in one of the most emotional moments in wrestling history. But what people don't realize is, long before that moment and long after it, Bryan's body was paying the price. Bryan's high-flying technical style made him a fan favorite, but it also led to multiple concussions. His body could only take so much, and by 2015 the doctors had seen enough. Doctors told him that one more concussion could lead to permanent brain damage. Bryan had no choice but to retire. The Yes movement was over, or so we thought. Against all odds, Bryan made a miraculous comeback. 2 years later, but for some, a comeback was never an option. Number 5, Paige versus Sasha Banks, the injury that ended a dream. Sometimes all it takes is one wrong hit, one unlucky move. And for Paige, that moment came in 2017. After years of injuries, Paige's neck was already fragile. Doctors had warned her, but she kept fighting. Until one night in a house show match against Sasha Banks, her body finally gave out. Sasha threw a routine kick to Paige's back. Nothing out of the ordinary, but Paige's neck couldn't take it. The second she hit the mat, she knew something was wrong. Doctors told her she could never wrestle again. The same girl who made history as the youngest Divas champion was now forced to hang up her boots at just 25 years old. Paige's story was heartbreaking, but at least she walked away. Our next entry didn't get that chance. Number 4, Magnum TA versus Tully Blanchard, a career lost in an instant. Back in the 80s, Magnum TA was the future of professional wrestling. He had the look, the charisma, and the in-ring ability to become the next big thing. His brutal rivalry with Tully Blanchard was legendary, with their steel cage I Quit match being one of the greatest NWA matches ever. Magnum was destined for greatness until one fateful night in 1986, everything changed. Magnum was driving home when he lost control of his Porsche. The crash was so severe that doctors told him he'd never walk again, let alone wrestle. Magnum defied the odds and regained the ability to walk, but his wrestling career, it was over, just like that. From one legend's downfall to another who nearly destroyed himself for the fans. Number 3, Mick Foley versus Triple H. The hardcore icon's body gives out. Foley's rivalry was one of the most violent in WWE history. Their street fights, Hell in a Cell matches, and no-holds-barred brawls were straight-up wars. But Foley wasn't indestructible. After years of punishment, his knees were shot. His back was done. He physically couldn't wrestle anymore. Foley retired in 2000, only to return sporadically for more brutal matches. But every time he stepped into the ring, his body broke down a little more, until finally he had to stop. But I've got to ask, would you have survived this kind of punishment in the ring? Let me know in the comments. And if you're truly a wrestling fan, hit that subscribe button and prove it. And now we reach number 2, a match so iconic it defied one legend's career and ended another. Number 2, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, the match that ended HBK's career. Some retirements come from injury, some from doctor's orders, but for Shawn Michaels, his career ended with a choice. HBK and The Undertaker had one of the greatest rivalries ever. Their first battle at WrestleMania 25, a masterpiece. But when Shawn lost, he wasn't satisfied. At WrestleMania 26, he risked everything for one more shot at the dead man. And this time, he couldn't kick out. With one final tombstone, Shawn Michaels' career was over. And this time, there was no coming back. HBK had one of the most legendary careers ever, and he walked away on his own terms. But the man at number 1, he never had a choice. Number 1, Droz versus D'Lo Brown, the most tragic injury in WWE history. This wasn't just career-ending, it was life-changing. In 1999, Droz faced D'Lo Brown in what was supposed to be a normal match, but a botched powerbomb went horribly wrong. Droz landed awkward. Wait until you hear the disturbing truth about WWE backstage injuries. The thing that happens behind the curtain. The injuries you were never meant to know about. It's a whole different level of shocking. You do not want to miss this. Click right here to watch now and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss the stories WWE doesn't want you to hear. I'll see you in that video. Which injury shocked you the most? Let's talk about it in the comments. And hey, if you love this, hit that like button and subscribe. More insane WWE content coming your way.